Celestial Husk as AAAd gonna go head-to-head with Reject. An uphill battle maybe on both sides of the board here as they look to scramble to the top of the peak in this opening match of the night.
And we get to make our brief stop through Clintar, a neighborhood that most of our teams don't really enjoy going to all that often. I think they keep the windows rolled up through this particular neighborhood. But hey, you know, with the random draw for our domination map, you gotta go to Clintar at least once. And now we're gonna get to see the picks and the bans kicking off, and it looks like we're already getting a piece of that branching path narrative on both sides. We've got AAAd going for the Elsa ban, while Reject is just super quick to secure that one-sided gambit.
Yeah, you know, I hear if you leave the windows rolled down on Clintar, sometimes you may end up getting slimed. So definitely good advice to keep the windows rolled up. But yeah, we are going to be seeing, like we talked about when we explained the draft phase, there is a one-sided Gambit coming through for Reject. Of course, Gambit enables a ton of strategies, a ton of win conditions, so no shocker to see him being high priority. AAAd going to go for the damage output. They are going to save the Elsa for themselves. But Loki, you know, I think the premonition coming true from that draft phase explanation, Loki already banned out here. So definitely some high value targets right out the gate in draft number 1.
And you can already see, you know, AAAd, when you see that Gambit Protect come out, there's a couple of bans that you kind of have to hit. The Loki is one of them because you don't want to be double dipping on the Raging Royal Flush. The Star-Lord is another one of them because that combination with the Royal Flush and the Galactic Legend is an insta-fight win if you can get that one off successfully. And another one that we might see, depending on who is capable of bringing it to the helm, is Rogue. I don't know if they're, you know, either of these teams do have like a dedicated Rogue player or someone who's really prolific on that hero. I haven't seen a whole lot of it from either side, but that might be what the last ban ends up being. But hey, let's talk a little bit about that Devil from Hell's Kitchen one more time, shall we?
Yeah, Matt Murdock, Daredevil on the board here for Reject. So Yaki going to be playing that Daredevil into this map, and it is going to be a one-sided Daredevil. So a couple of big one-sided pickups for Reject here. And you know, CB, I know you had your eyes on Star-Lord coming into this season of Ignite, talking about how he is a big cornerstone for a lot of strategies here. So no shocker to see Reject saving the Gambit. That Raging Royal Flush Galactic Legend combo, absolutely deadly. So I like the ban coming through from AAAd. They read the save here and are trying to respond in kind. But that's kind of the question here. Yaki already locked in the Daredevil and ready to go here. But Rocco, I know, also has a very, very tough Elsa. So it is going to be a duel to watch here between these two players as they're going to be looking to put numbers up on the board like never before seen. Mathematicians in the audience, get your degree ready because I don't know if I can count that high.
Yeah, Rocco was just running away with some of the games in MRC on this Elsa Bloodstone. It's one of those things that you just can't really give him for free, but we talked again about, you know, Illicit on that Daredevil and how you can't really give him that either, so it's a bit of a pick your poison, right? Like, there's a secret third option, right? Like, it's usually like the Gambit or the Elsa, but when you have players like Illicit or Yaki in the lobby, that Daredevil becomes a third thing that you have to pay very close attention to, and for Reject, they are going to be the ones coming out there with that. We're seeing some interesting things, not to spoil the surprise for you, Chex. I know you're loving these beauty shots of this neighborhood through your car windows that you keep rolled up very tightly, much like the rest of our teams. Illicit is going to be coming out on the Ultron to start off with. Those drones do give a little bit of a damage boost and can work as a sort of pseudo stand-in for the Mantis, who does get banned out. That's another one of those bans that you have to hit when you see the Elsa Protect come through.
Yeah, and when AAAd has been winning maps, Illicit has been on the Ultron several times, so there's a lot of deadly precision for both sides of the board here, but we are ready to go here. AAAd and Reject gonna take the fight straight to each other right out the gate here. Yaki on the move on the Daredevil, but he goes down first. No Smite will find the first KO of the match. Piggy and Brownie, though, gonna make it a 2-for-1, favoring Reject, so they lose the Lawyer, but they do win the battle here to start things off. Brownie high-flying on the Psylocke to get things underway here on a Celestial Husk. Between these two teams, both of them looking to break out of this 1-1 record that they are on here, so it is going to be a fight to the very end here, and Brownie already on the move on this Psylocke.
Yep, that's going to be a, I think that's 2 doubles back-to-back. We'll call it a quad. It wasn't really a quad, but still able to get just pretty much everybody. Yaki, the sacrificial lamb for Reject, and then Brownie just comes in with the cleanup. And AAAd, I don't know if they know what hit him. I mean, Psylocke is one of those heroes that you do kind of have to pay close attention to. She's not always going to be in the picks and bans, but when she is in the lobby, she can put out a ton of pressure, but Gargoyle will be doing no such thing himself on the Venom as Rocco just puts the buckshot right between his teeth.
Yeah, Rocco really looking to put pedal to the metal here on the point and chasing down several members of Reject on the Elsa. Yaki on the Daredevil in the back room here. Rocco finds him, wins the duel here. Daredevil shut down, back to the spawn room for now. That's a Raging Royal Flush from Seung-hoon there on the Gambit, and Reject gonna look to capitalize on it. Still in control and still on the move here. Brownie, more and more KOs on that Psylocke left and right. Glartrox from Rocco as well to follow up, but it is gonna be Reject walking away with the battle here. Not enough bodies from AAAd to contest right now, and 50% captured for Reject. They are on a roll so far.
It was good composure from them, though, because that did look very scary when Rocco comes out with 2 off of just, you know, the neutral damage, then pops the Apex Predator, catches 2 in the mouth there, but some good mag bubbles are coming up from Piggy to help keep the rest of the team alive, and we're able to live to fight another day, and only one more day, or one more fight rather, on the docket as we're crossing that 70% threshold, and the longer this fight goes on, the less of a chance of a retake AAAd will have.
Yeah, and Reject holding a lot of the cards here. Several ults, the first one of which, of course, Dance of the Butterflies coming down from Brownie, and a Feast of the Abyss from Gargoyle as well. That forces out what AAAd has from overhead, though. Dunk by Tuba onto Piggy, so the battle of the masters of magnetism here, and Tuba takes it in spite of Piggy looking so good on that Magneto lately. He will walk away still holding the Meteor M, but Reject still holding the point here, and Gargoyle on that Venom trying to hold on to it, but finally AAAd makes the flip for the first time this matchup, and they are in the driver's seat while Reject send back to scramble and regroup for now.
I do like Illicit on that Wolverine pick there. If you're not going to be able to put him on the Daredevil, this is just as good, and is a great way to punish some over-aggression that comes out from Gargoyle. Going to have the last stand going into this next fight. Honestly, I think you just kind of let that one rip. Already taking Gargoyle for a ride, and there's a nice little 1-2. I don't even know if he meant to get Brownie in there, but he got him nonetheless.
On the cusp here, Reject almost retaking it, but they will drop another fight here. AAAd in control there. Last stand from Illicit is good, and the Kumiho as well from Winsker. So White Fox already making an appearance here. Of course, this week in preseason, we are playing with those White Fox buffs, so definitely a hero you're going to be seeing more out of tonight. But CB, it looks like for now, AAAd taking control of the match here.
Yeah, and with No Smite holding on to that Freedom Charge, they should have a good forward path to hold on to it, at least through that 50% threshold as we're crossing that one there now. And looks like he's going to hold on to it until Reject forces his hand on that one. And speaking of hands, Seung-hoon has got one to play, a Raging Royal Flush, and just one tap Rocco, trust in the heart of the cards.
Got full hand here for Reject as they will cash in most of their resources. Yaki on the move there, taking out Quasit from AAAd. Brownie will find Tuba. Winsker goes down as well. Most of AAAD offline. Illicit chase down. No Smite walking away just barely. Rocco the only one left standing, and Reject will make the retake here. 95% and counting. I don't know if AAAD has enough time to make it back to the point here. Rocco on the move, but they will give it up here, and Reject will take point 1 on Celestial Husk.
I did like the fight that AAAd were able to win, and I also do, again, like the Wolverine swap, but I think, you know, they lost those first 2 fights and really only had enough breathing room to try and take that one retake, and after that, it needed to be perfect, and yeah, that Raging Royal Flush, man, it's just one of those things that when it's on the field, it's not always just a simply I push Q and we win button, but it's pretty close, especially when you couple it with Yaki's Let the Devil Out. I mean, it's not the same as the Galactic Legend, but it's just as deadly.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of combo potential from that ult alone. Definitely shows you why that Gambit one side is so big coming out of that draft phase there for Reject. They are going to come into this with a couple ults ready to go. Reject's got Meteor M and Feast of the Abyss as well, so they've got some output potential here to start things off. Rocco, of course, Apex Predator waiting in the wings for Reject, so a lot of questions about this first fight here, but, you know, like you said, Reject had such a big lead there. It was an uphill battle for AAAd to try and get control, so we're going to be looking for them to maybe try to wrest control away early and see how they handle it going forward.
I'm curious to see, though, how these Vanguard ultimates from Reject are going to be used, because you call out, you know, the ult advantage for Reject and that Apex Predator from Rocco, which didn't actually get enough last time around. I'm wondering if Reject call out that they have that advantage, just try and go aggressive with this Feast of the Abyss from Gargoyle. He's lurking, he is looking for a spot to hit that diving strike, but no one is showing themselves just yet, so Illicit going to rule the skies, try and keep Yaki in check, and Yaki's trying to go for an anime battle with the Ultron.
Yeah, I mean, definitely eyes in the sky for AAAd. Illicit back over onto the Ultron. Speaking of sky, Meteor M overhead, where Piggy charging up will knock him down here. Brownie and Gargoyle will enter the KO feed, though, as they will take control of this first battle. Lastro gets one in there, as well as it's going to be a full ace there for Reject to start off. Point number 2. AAAd in trouble here at the outset, but plenty of time here, but a very nice fight to start off for Reject.
And I'm glad I was kind of right that the Vanguard ults were used early for Reject. You know, you just saw Quasid get a little bit separated from the pack there, and Gargoyle seizes the opportunity with that Feast of the Abyss. Piggy with the Meteor M, I guess just for a little bit of tempo, keep Reject in control of the point here. Now they're going to be staring down the barrel of another one from Tuba. Some more ults are going to be coming online for AAAd, but Lastro with its Jeff. This is one of the maps on Clintar that does have that environmental potential. You gotta watch out. Early Dance the Butterfly going to come out, but Quasid is good with the invisible boundary, and now Reject gonna try and pop that It's Jeff. Did we get anything with it though?
It does look like we've got a shark in the water. Is holding 2. Can't get him to the edge here, but we'll take him to the rest of Reject to finish the job there. Lastro taking down Rocco. So Elsa Bloodstone sent back to spawn. Make that 3 members of AAAd. Again, a knockdown, drag out victory here for Reject. They will take yet another ace. Very, very clean, a beautiful team play from this Reject team, and they still have a Daredevil ult ready to go too.
And this Apex Predator from Rocco, you know, we called that out a couple fights ago, but it's also been missing in these last couple of fights here. I think it's because AAAd have been caught off guard by the aggression from Reject. Reject are angry from that loss last night. They want to go quick. They want to go aggressive. Yaki gonna do the very same, popping that Let the Devil out. Apex Predator does come out though from Rocco, but I think that Glartrox is gonna be going home hungry.
Yeah, definitely Reject a lot to prove here in this matchup. They are running dry on ultimates. AAAd gonna cash in the last one there. Winsker on the Kumiho, unleashed from the White Fox here. Big smashes there on the point as AAAd a hair away from the capture. A kick or two will be all they need to make it happen. Piggy again overhead on the Meteor M satellite there for Reject, trying to find the KOs, but will not come through here. No Smite takes one, but Yaki gonna even it right back up for Reject here as Brownie and Yaki will help them take full control here. A double KO on the Psylocke for Brownie, looking to make it 3. Can't quite get the final hit here, but that is the final fight. Overtime ticks away, and Reject will have a very confident Celestial Husk.
Confidence is definitely the name of the game when it comes to Reject here. Every fight that they won was quick and decisive, and the fights that AAAd won or looked like they were going to win, which, I mean, they only actually won that one fight on Celestial Hand. Outside of that, which was very opportunistic, let's say, it was Illicit on the Wolverine, coming up with a couple of, you know, stray KOs here and there. You know, you got No Smite on the Venom, catching out the Gambit, catching out Sunghoon away from the rest of the pack. Some good opportunistic plays, but the opportunities are only going to present themselves every once in a blue moon. And Reject, they don't need opportunities. They make their own opportunities. They go aggressive. They've got not really any standout players on the side of Reject, to be completely honest with you, because everybody's firing on all cylinders. You can give Brownie the nod with those 9 final elims on the Psylocke, was very much so a force for this team from start to finish, but it's just Reject playing good, clean Marvel Rivals, and AAAd a little bit behind in step.
Yeah, I mean, feels like each member of Reject kind of getting their flowers there. Of course, Piggy, big Meteor M's, all preseason week 1 along for him. Brownie, plenty of multi-KOs, same with Yaki. Lastro, great ults on the It's Jeff. And of course, Sunghoon enabling the entire team to make all of that happen. So MVP deserved, as he's kind of the engine for the rest of the vehicle. But of course, Carr does not work with just one part alone, as this Reject team, like you said, on all cylinders. Truly, each member putting in the work to maintain that lead over AAAd. So a very different looking Reject from last night. Very confident, in control of the match, even when they're not in control of the capture point. So definitely the looks you want to see if you're on the side of Reject.
And I think for Reject, it also does kind of come down to the scouting. I mean, I know we were highlighting, or I was at the very least highlighting Brownie a little bit more than Yaki, but Yaki being able to get that one-sided Daredevil and keep Illicit off of the map Murdoch, I think did also pay off dividends for Reject. So we talk a little bit about this branching path narrative with the pick in the ban phase, and how that third option is one you got to pay attention to for the likes of AAAd. But we will be paying close attention to that, as Reject are on match point, and AAAd still looking for the rebound match, and might need a rebound for the rebound match at this rate if they go down. We're going to cut to a quick break. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, rivals, and welcome back. More Asia Pacific action coming your way. Game 1 of AAAd versus Reject in the books, and Reject looking confident as ever as they walk away with the win. One-sided Gambit and one-sided Daredevil CB. I have to imagine AAAd's draft going to be looking a lot different on map 2.
I mean, I sure hope so. Both of these teams are very much so dive teams that seem to specialize in the Daredevil in one way or another. But if Alyssa doesn't have access to it, you can't let Yaki have it one-sided. I think that's just a recipe for disaster and a recipe to get yourself knocked down in the power rankings here. But one key ingredient to the recipe for success for AAAd is evidently going to be Museum of Contemplation, a map we have seen quite a fair bit of and has kind of bred an interesting variety of compositions. You know, just a couple patches ago, it was front to back central. It was Midtown 2 for all intents and purposes. But in this new world that we have cultivated with the, the 20% ult reductions and the new divey meta, and a lot more room for some of these pop-off plays from the duelist players, we do tend to see a lot more dive from it, a lot more venom, a lot more, I shouldn't say a lot more. We do still see a lot of Daredevil on it. We also see some weird cheese strats coming out here from time to time, and I'm sure we'll see that when we see XOXO01 a little bit later on in the show. But what we need to see here from AAAd is either a Daredevil ban or a new strategy that can act as the trump card to Reject.
Yeah, I mean, I have to imagine from frame 1 here, we're going to be seeing a very, very different matchup. But yeah, Museum of Contemplation been a big counter pick for a lot of teams here. So AAAd looking to turn the tide on the newest map in the game, other than Lower Manhattan, of course, available now in your game client. But Reject up 1-0 here on match point as they are looking to break their 1-1 record and go into the positives. Of course, both of these teams a lot to prove here, but Reject so far showing that they are here to win tonight in this first of their 2 matches. We'll see them in action.
It's going to be a long night for both of these teams, but an even longer one from here on out for AAAd, because even if they get this map win, Reject are going to have the map pick on map 3, and it's going to be a 3-map series, and then you still got to go for that double header, not a triple header. We're not going to make you play 3 times tonight, but we are going to make them play against rivals a little bit later on tonight, and Reject has Zero Tenacity on the docket, and it doesn't feel like they're looking past AAAd at Zero Tenacity. It looks like they have their sights firmly set on the task in front of them. I am going to finish my plate before I have dessert, even if dessert might just be the end of me.
Yeah, definitely don't want to get too far ahead of themselves here. Cannot count out this AAAd team, but same in the opposite direction. Of course, the counter pick, it is nice to play on your own territory, but like you said, CB, that is the question. If they take Museum of Contemplation, they will be on Reject's turf in the Decider map, so definitely want to see them limber up a little more here, get some more hits in, and that all starts from the draft phase, of course. Reject did walk away with one-sided Gambit and one-sided Daredevil. Of course, Gambit enabler for all compositions across the board, but that Daredevil especially deadly in the hands of Yaki, so I look for AAAd to change things up out the gate here. But of course, they already went to some of their most popular choices in the preseason so far. Of course, they had Illicit on the Ultron, who's been making the rounds a lot more lately, so definitely going to be looking for some more of that out of them here.
Yeah, and I think this is one of those maps where the Ultron very much so can come out to play, because even though there are ceilings, they are deceptively quite high, and there is a lot of airspace that can be easily dominated by, say, an Ultron or perhaps a Star-Lord, which is another one of those bands that I think needs to come through. And my question for AAAd is, are you willing to sacrifice the Star-Lord in order to get the Daredevil ban, right? Like, you're gonna have to face one of those 2 things. Luckily, I don't think you need to worry about the Rogue in this situation, but you do still need to hit all the other notes. Loki, potentially Star-Lord, and almost certainly Daredevil.
Yeah, and with Gambit banned out from both teams right off the rip here, definitely not too much to worry about with Rogue. Of course, Mantis going to be the save for AAAd. Kind of a stand-in, has some damage boost potential as well. Definitely can serve as an enabler. So if you can't get Gambit, not a bad second option to go for here. Reject going to take away Rocco's Elsa, though. Rocco, definitely one of the standout players on map 1 on the Elsa Bloodstone. So no shock here. And they're going to yoink it, too. Take it right for themselves here, too. So they're definitely expecting a little more aggressive draft from AAAd, I believe, with that Elsa save for sure.
Yeah, Brownie about to say anything you can do, I can do better. And of course, AAAd, that's not just a one-sided Mantis just for the sake of having a one-sided Mantis. Again, when you see the Elsa come out, you can't be dealing with a damage boosted Elsa. I think that's the last thing that you want. Homegirl already does enough damage as it is. We don't want that extra 12%. You know, if you're gonna have an Ultron, sure, whatever, fine. We'll force you to play that Ultron in response. And there's that Daredevil ban coming out from AAAd, just as we suspected. Matched with a Vanpool ban, another, and a one-sided Vanpool, actually. Whoa, okay, hold up. Reject are once again staging a coup in the ban phase.
Yeah, that is definitely big. Vanguard Deadpool, probably the strongest of the 3 variants, but the one you see probably the most often in Ignite, saved just for themselves here. A big tool off the table for AAAd. They are hovering the Loki ban here, potentially. I like the draft from both sides. It is very in your face, going for the throat in almost every pick these teams are making. Gotta respect it. Gotta respect the adjustment from AAAd, as they might be bringing in a one-sided Daredevil, perhaps. I do see a Jeff hover there, but I don't know. I want the DD here, baby.
I definitely want the Jeff a lot more than the Daredevil. Okay, yeah. Sorry. I want the Daredevil Protect. I was like, I don't want the Jeff. There's no environmental potential here on Museum of Contemplation, and I think the corridors just aren't narrow enough to get the maximum out of that Joyful Splash healing, so Jeff not great when it comes to Museum of Contemplation, but hey, nevertheless, we're going to see him on both sides, or at least hovers from him right away, so what do I know? I'm just a caster and an analyst. These players, they know what's up. If you get the Deadpool team up, though, as Piggy does with that one-sided Vanpool, Jeff does also do a lot more healing. So, you know, even if the corridors aren't quite as narrow for that Joyful Splash, you also have the, you know, the teddy bears to do a little bit of extra AoE heals.
Yeah, both of these teams very effective on their toes here. Lots of adjustment on both sides of the board here. Definitely going to see a different matchup as we head for Museum of Contemplation, one of the newest maps in the game. Not quite the newest in the map pool, you know, save that for Shin Shibuya here, but we are off to map number 2. Reject looking to close out their first of 2 matches tonight, while AAAd trying to stay alive here against one of the top teams here in the Asia Pacific region for sure. So big match on our hands here, and an all-important map for both of these teams, really.
And as we go into the map here in just a second, I want to just go ahead and pre-stage this by saying I have never eaten my words faster than when talking about how Jeff's not good on this map, because both teams have completely crafted their composition around the Jeff Reject. I mentioned the Vanpool team up just a second ago. They're double dipping with the Symbiote Shenanigans team up as well, so Lastro is going to be giving load-bearing heals to Reject, and you still have Sunghoon on the invis, so much healing going to be coming out for Reject, and so much damage going to be coming out from Brownie and Yaki, who is going to be manning the Psylocke there. Brownie apparently doesn't even need to see you to hit a couple of shots.
No, X-ray vision there for Brownie on the side of Reject, and Reject gonna open strong here on defense. 3 KOs, Yaki a double KO on the Psylocke right away here, and you're right, it is definitely sharks in the water here on Museum of Contemplation. Of course, the objective involves Jeff as well, so a lot of Jeff here in this matchup, but a strong start for this Reject defense.
AAAd still haven't even really been able to get out the spawn door. Like, that first little wall that you got there, that is their lifeline there. Good flank coming out from Quasit, though. Getting a little bit of Joyful Splash damage onto Yaki, and gonna have to walk sheepishly back with the rest of the team. And Reject have no choice but respect that, as they no longer have control over that initial corner there. So, yeah, AAAd, he's getting out the gates there. Piggy going straight to sleep after that bad hammer.
Doesn't manage to get it out here. Reject gonna follow up a little bit on it. That'll convert 1 for Brownie there on the Elsa. So Reject still in your KO feed, still taking control of it, while AAAd finally getting some progress going here. But Reject gonna take early control of the cart, not let him get away too far there. But I do like the plays here. Illicit and Quasit, like you said, trying to take advantage of those flank routes. That's who we're looking at right now on that Daredevil, and is going for the backline there. We'll find Sunghoon, catches him by surprise. One strategist offline for Reject, but Yaki will play right through, and Lastro will enter the KO feed as well here. Illicit putting in as much work as possible, but so far 2 for 3, all favoring Reject, as finally the Daredevil is backed off.
Yaki and Illicit going blow for blow, and Gargoyle dealing with No Smite. No Smite keeps going in so deep on that Venom and getting caught out every single time, and really not getting the most out of these dives. And I gotta think, if you're AAAd, you know, you gotta either sync up these dives with Illicit, or you gotta just like make a swap and just play a little bit more brawly, let Reject come to you, but that might be the last thing that you want to do, because they are more than happy to oblige if that's your game. Dance of the Butterfly and Feast of the Abyss. No elims coming out, but AAAd have definitely flinched.
Teams going band for band here on the ultimates, but AAAd emerging victorious for now here. No Smite and Illicit will find a couple of KOs here. The door in front of them very quickly opening towards checkpoint number 1. Piece of the Abyss for No Smite here, but now Reject starting to turn things around. Piggy and Yaki taking in some KOs for themselves, while Illicit still putting in work for this AAAd roster. So Illicit over onto the Daredevil, lots of value so far for this team, but like you said, CD, I want to see them come together a little more and play together as a team instead of just letting 1 or 2 stars try and dictate the whole fight.
Well, it's now or never. This is the fight that they have to win because they have drained the bank for Reject. Reject used everything to win that fight, and it wasn't even decisive. Only it's Jeff for Quasid for AAAd. You can maybe use that at least for healing, but gonna go initiate with that tool. I don't know if he's able to get anybody. No Elam potential coming out. Yeah, no one's getting swallowed up there, and Piggy gonna take down Rocco. It's looking pretty rough, but here's a selfie to commemorate the moment.
Now stop to take the pick here as Reject slowly converting to KOs here. Quasid will find Lastro, wins the Jeff Mirror fight here, but the rest of Reject still in the battle against AAAd. 30 seconds and counting for them to try and get this first checkpoint, but right now Reject feels like they have a white-knuckle grip on this objective. Will not let this thing go over to AAAd. Of course, Illicit putting in work on the Daredevil, but shut down by the Psylocke there. Yaki with a big KO here, game changer for Reject within the last 10 seconds. AAAd not enough time to try and muster one last united front. Piggy gets one more Deadpool all for the road here. Apex Predator from Brownie as well drives almost all of AAAd off the point. Half of them offline and sent back to spawn, while OT ticks down and Reject looking to try and close this out. One more meteor for Tuba overhead, but that is all she wrote there. 0 checkpoints for AAAd.
That's a statement from Reject. They are saying, like, we are bouncing back. Yesterday was a fluke. It's never going to happen again, and we are going to prove it at AAAd's expense. A full hold on Museum of Contemplation, and every single time, AAAd, like I said, a dive team who has the Jeff team up with the Venom. No Smite gets caught out so many times, and sometimes even Illicit with him by Yaki on this Psylocke, and everybody is just turning around and marking the Venom, and AAAd are just failing to capitalize off of that space created by that interaction, and not enough space was created at all in order to cap point A, and that's rough. That's really rough, because like I mentioned, both of these teams, they need their bounce back. This has to be the moment for AAAd, but it looks like it's gonna be the moment for Reject unless AAAd have a Herculean hold here.
Yeah, I mean, a successful defense from AAAd would be absolutely massive, but Reject looking to clock out and rest up until their second match later tonight here. It does kind of feel like AAAd feeling around in the dark for some weaknesses here and there and just not finding the holes that they need to into that Reject defense. So side swap now, AAAd on the defense. They just have 90 meters of space, so heals definitely hanging off the edge of the cliff here for them, while Reject looking to just go full pressure right out the gate here with Yaki over onto the Wolverine.
3, 2,
As the doors open, AAAd have their work cut out for them, and Brownie is going to be doing a little bit of cutting as well, perforating Tuba there, already forcing that mag to play scared. He can't hold this front line as aggressively as he really needs to, and look at how Reject just come right out, claim the space, and you know what? We'll claim your mag as well. He's mine now.
And Yaki defying gravity and physics there, does find Tuba, takes him back to the rest of the team. One big KO already in the books for Reject, but Rocco will find Brownie on the Mantis there, out of the side hallway there to take 1 KO for AAAd, so they are all still standing here. No Smite with that symbiotic resistance, just barely hanging on, while the rest of Reject trying to keep this cart moving. I see Illicit taking up some of those flank routes once again, but there's the Deadpool ult from Piggy on the front lines right alongside Yaki here, trying to keep that pressure and keep some space ahead for the card to keep moving, but Illicit will take down Lastro here. Yaki going low, as well as Brownie will go back to the spawn on the behalf of Illicit, making a triple KO there for the Devil of Hell's Kitchen.
And it's also off the back of an emergency swap onto the thing from Tuba, so now there's a little bit more peeling for the backline. Quasid has the angle and gives Gargoyle the Hawk Tua from downtown, and Reject have been scuppered at least for the time being, but that's only for about 1 minute and 15 seconds. We still have 2:45 in the time bank and plenty of time for Reject to make a play, but Illicit wants to seize the moment, gets punished there by Yaki, but it's still a high-value KO onto the Jeff there, and No Smite going to get on alive as well, so AAAd still are in fighting form for this next recontest here, as the Batsmobile once again going to be taken out of park and start slowly driving forward here, but Rocco, with another Elim like before, could potentially be another pressure valve here for AAAd.
Yeah, definitely not down for the 3 count yet as AAAd gonna muster for another fight here. Gargoyle low on the symbiotic resistance, and Yaki as well. Several members of Reject going down, but it's Jeff coming out from Lastro. Does not look like he picks up anybody, and AAAd will convert, sending Lastro back to spawn. So Jeff out the picture for now as they have finally cleared half of Reject's time away on defense here. Definitely a better defensive effort than we might have expected. They build up a lot of ultimates here. I mean, AAAd have a lot of cards on their side of the table, especially with a clobbering time around the corner too. I mean, it is looking really, really solid here for defense.
I think the caffeine just kicked in and AAAd have woken up, and Illicit is the one who is pouring them another cup of joe, has let the devil out, and is going to use it right on top of the back line. And on the other side, Yaki with the Dance of the Butterfly is going to take down Rocco. Couldn't get inside of the invisible boundary. Clobber in time from Tuba, and Illicit goes in. The Apex Predator is going to be finding himself at the bottom of the food chain, and AAAd again holding strong here in this fight. And now with only a minute left, Reject drained the bank to try and make that happen, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, that was a ton of commitment for Reject for not a lot of value at all there. Beautifully played by AAAd. They still have It's Jeff online ready to go for what could be potentially the last fight here on defense. Reject still about 50 meters or so to go to try and close this thing out, and they are going to be on the move and trying to do it. Illicit caught out by Brownie though on the Elsa. Will manage to get away. No, he won't. Brownie will take him down there. Not the pick you want to see on the side of AAAd here as Reject mustered and ready to go here. Back in control of the card and on the move. A solid return here for Reject, and Gargoyle going deep on the Venom. We'll find 2, and Lastro following him into battle here. Big window of opportunity here for Reject to try and finish this thing off.
No Smite and Quasit are stuck deep behind enemy lines. They can go for a contest here as Winsgro's going to make the swap over onto the Dr. Strange. It's going to have to be a portal play to try and go for a recontest here. It's Jeff is still online, but your window of opportunity to use it is slowly narrowing. A portal opens. AAAd, the reinforcements coming on through it, and it's Jeff being popped, but you need to get something huge with this, and you're gonna have to settle for the invis. It's gonna have to be big enough. Can Quasi confirm the Elim though? No! There are some men playing Bouncer there, and I think there was a C9!
2, 1.
Oh no, you are 100% right. Takes the invis, kidnaps her off the point. AAAd in control of the payload when the timer reaches 0, and they will even it out. They're taking us to map 3. I cannot believe what I just saw.
I don't even know what I just saw, because when I saw the map and I saw it kick into slow motion, I'm like, well, someone C9, but who won? And AAAd, by the skin of their teeth, able to escape with Museum of Contemplation. If you're Reject A, you can't feel good about that, but if you're AAAd, you gotta be feeling on cloud 9 because you escaped disaster, and a not insignificant part of it was off of an insane defensive effort. Illicit came alive, popped off, went in deep, and constantly was finding 2, 3 at a time with this Daredevil. This is why it was banned in the first place. This is why AAAd used to protect onto the DD. They know that if you give this guy the ball, he's your point guard. He'll take you all the way, and from there, it's just a slam dunk.
Yeah, I mean, it really felt like Illicit and Quasit absolutely relentless in the flank routes here. You don't see a ton of flank route play on Museum, not as much as I thought when the map came out, but these two together put in a lot of work in the back hallways of the Museum of Contemplation. Are definitely went into some employees-only areas to get some of these KOs, but AAAd managed to hang on here at the very last second. You know, when the fight is that close, I see a Jeff ult go off, and the timer reaches 0. I assume, the Jeff unfortunately walked away from the point, but no, it is Reject with no bodies on the objective to hold it, and now the position they don't want to be in, Reject is tied with AAAd going into map number 3.
And I'm starting to sense a recurring problem here because a not insignificant portion of the fights lost against Pirates yesterday were also as the result of C9. So I think we need to get Reject a map. I think we need to show them where the mission area is and keep them firmly on it. You know, maybe put a leash on them so they don't get too far away from the Batmobile. Next time around, we'll head on down to the Walgreens, grab a couple of those things. If you guys want anything, let me know. But we're gonna go to a quick break. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere, chat. We've got the finale of this series on the other side of it.
I think we're staying with it.
I think we're staying with it? Are we staying with
I
it?
mean, high octane
I'm okay
fight
with
like
that.
that can't just step away for that long. You know, it is kind of a tense moment here as map 2 wraps up a C9 moment. Unfortunately for Reject here, AAAd gonna stay in the fight and get us to map 3. But unfortunately for them, the downside is going to be they're going to play it on Reject's turf. So I believe we are ready to maybe throw it to a quick break here, let these teams catch their breath, and get ready for the decider right after this. Well, after a dominant performance on map number 1 and a dominant performance on most of map 2, I did not think we'd be here. But welcome back, map number 3 of AAAd versus Reject in store after Reject missed coordination somewhere along the line as they step off the objective at the last second and let AAAd take it.
Yeah, from a dominant performance on map 1 to a very awkward performance at the end, almost as awkward as my attempt to throw to break last time around. That's on me, my bad. I'll take the L on that one, and Reject unfortunately gonna have no choice but take the L on Museum of Contemplation and take the series for the first time to Symbiotic Surface. We are back on Clintar, baby. I hope you got the car windows rolled right back up.
Yeah, or grab your parka, you know, umbrella, whatever you need to avoid the slime here. It's everywhere. But yes, it is Symbiotic Surface in store. I feel like we maybe cast or cursed it into existence here. But definitely a miracle moment for AAAd to take Museum of Contemplation and get us here. The downside, of course, this is Reject's choice. So they are on Reject's turf as both teams going to look to close it out. But, you know, again, it feels like when we came into this series, we said, you know, going in, we would have thought Reject would just take this. But after their loss to Pirates, there were a lot of questions. Now I feel like I thought they would take this series in 2. Now the question is, can they close this thing out?
I know the answer to that question. The question is they can, but the question for me is, will they? Because they should, right? Like, they should, just like they should have won Museum of Contemplation, but it all kind of hinges on them, and do they have the appropriate location of the mission objective? You know, can they keep Null's essence in their sights and keep their feet firmly planted on it, as that seemed to have been their folly on Museum of Contemplation and also on Central Park against Pirates yesterday. It is a recurring problem that needs to be nipped in the bud before it gets out of control. I think they still have their playoff hopes very much so alive going forward, but that's something that you cannot let follow you into a playoff bracket, especially when there's cash money on the line.
Yeah, and I mean, gotta give a lot of respect to AAAd. They didn't just throw in the towel on Museum of Contemplation after they got held short of checkpoint number 1, and that's
Well,
what
they didn't throw in the
enabled
towel.
them
They threw
to-
hands.
No, they really did. I mean, that's what gave them the opportunity to take advantage of Reject walking off the point and get here. So a gritty team there that likes to hang into the fight until the very last. Love to see it here. But of course, Reject, plenty of opportunity here for them to try and close this thing out and restore the faith here. Because again, I feel like there are some questions. There's a lot of wavering opinion about them right now. So this is their opportunity to shut that down and finish this thing off here. And again, this is just their first match of the night. They're going to be taking on Zero Tenacity later too.
It has been determined that this will be a long night for both of these teams. It was already going to be. They had to be on their Lionel Richie business going all night long, but now they got to go through a 3-map series even just to get to their next objective, and that's not going to be a guarantee. And I also can't give you a whole lot of guarantees about this ban phase or what's actually going to be happening here on Symbiotic Surface, because I gotta be honest, I haven't seen it in Ignite. I also haven't seen any teams scrimming it lately. No one has been willing to touch this map with a 10-foot pole since the new patch, but it could be a secret weapon here for Reject. But one weapon that is no secret is Brownie on that Elsa, and they're once again going to secure that weapon and holster it very firmly on their hip.
Yeah, and plenty of opportunity here for Reject to take it one-sided as well. You know, Rocco has a solid Elsa too, so wouldn't be too shocked to see a Reject take care of her right here and now. Of course, Gambit off the table. AAAd definitely learned their lesson from map 1 not to give Seunghoon the Gambit. They will take the one-sided Mantis, and AAAd, both sides actually gonna ban the Daredevil, so no Daredevil either!
That's so funny to me. That's so funny to me. You get one map with Yaki popping off of the Daredevil and another with Illicit, and both teams say enough. All right, we got it. We gotta put him. We gotta put that devil back where it came from, or so help me.
Well, one hero making it through the draft phase this time. Loki gonna be saved by AAAd here, so we're gonna get to see some Loki action on a Symbiotic Surface here. But yeah, it is like you said, there are a lot of questions here on this map. You haven't seen it too much. Teams don't seem to be too fond of it here in this season, so that's the question. Is it just a comfort pick for Reject, or is it kind of a secret weapon, a little bit of a rug pull here? Either way, Adam Warlock, the Golden God, taken off the table for AAAd, and Reject gonna close it out with a Jeff save, and Lastro already hovering the Jeff again.
So the Jeff, I think, the Jeff Protect, I think, does signal that Reject still want to play some type of dive, as Jeff is pretty much, you know, the core enabler when it comes to the healers of dive. But what I'm seeing right now is on the defensive side for AAAd, you've got Mantis, you've got Loki, and no Groot ban. There is going to be a ban onto the Vanpool, which might be one of Groot's chief ops right now. You can play a pretty decent front-to-back composition here with the Groot if that's what you want to play, and I think that might be one of your strongest ways forward, especially when you have all of these pieces already lined up. You know, a Mantis Loki triple strat with a Groot, can't hate it.
Yeah, stars definitely aligning for that comp, and Reject going for a lot of comfort picks here. Seen a lot of Gargoyle Venom, seen a lot of Piggy Magneto, both on the table and open for them to pick up right where they left off here. Yaki and Brownie grabbing the same duelists as well here, and Lastro back over onto the Jeff too. On the side of AAAd though, they are going to take advantage of that Loki being open here. Quasid's going to pick up the Loki and run with it. Rocco on Mantis for now, but some changes, you know, kind of on both sides of the board here. But Reject, I think these are a lot of the signature heroes for these players. Of course, you know, Yaki and Daredevil definitely a menace, but Psylocke definitely not to be sneezed at when Yaki is piloting the ninja either. So good solid draft phase for both of these teams here. This is the decider for this matchup. One win apiece, and both teams are definitely here to try and take this one home and break their 1-1 records.
No Groot, though, going to be coming out from AAAd, opting for the Mag and the Vanpool, which, you know, of course, you managed to get it banned, so you do technically have it one-sided. Going to be your strongest tool, so I can't say I hate this either. The Namor, I think, is a little bit interesting from Illicit. A prolific counter-dive tool, I think, is afraid of that dive comp that, again, with that Jeff Protect, you knew was going to be coming out. My question is going to be, how are Reject going to approach this?
Yeah, that's going to be the answer here. AAAd looking to meet him, and Tuba looking to meet Yaki with 1 KO onto the board already. Stop to take the selfie, get that XP boost, and already ready for 1 upgrade there. So a solid start for AAAd, almost 60 seconds off the clock, while Reject a little bit of cold feet here, trying to think about how to handle this one, but I do see Gargoyle right up in their face on that Venom.
As he needs to be, and Lastro does need to be there to help enable that, but that does leave the other half of the formation, this Emma, this Invis, and Brownie on the Elsa just kind of, you know, sitting on the bench, biding their time. waiting for the fight to kick off properly until they can walk right in. But No Smite just has to be the bouncer, hold the door, and stop them from getting in, and Reject are going to stay split.
Just feel like Reject kind of slowly pushing their way forward here. AAAd looking to repel them. Rocco will take down Gargoyle on the Venom, send him all the way back to square one here. But it does feel like Reject kind of encroaching more and more on AAAd's space here. They are getting close to at least contesting that first capture point here. But a slow start for both sides of the board here. Reject trying to dust themselves off a little bit after the missteps on Museum of Contemplation. A minute and 30 off the clock, and now Reject standing on the border of that first capture point.
It's so hard with the triple strategist lineup for this Venom to get much of anything done. Alyssa gonna check Lastro there. Invisible bounty from Sunghoon. It's a good veil to try and give Gargoyle the opportunity to get in there. Brownie gonna pop that Apex Predator. I don't know how much that was able to grab, but no elims confirmed off the back of that. And Tuba is just going in with the Deagle's Fly and just pops Piggy in the back of the head. Never saw it coming, and Reject again repelled from this point.
Yeah, Tuba power leveling that Deadpool. Second selfie I've seen him snag this game, and now AAAd hold the cards from top to bottom here. The only ult they don't have is the Deadpool, and they're gonna push up a little bit here. Tuba leading the charge there for the rest of AAAd, as Reject now under halfway of their time bank still remaining, as they are still looking for a path forward here. It looked like they were trying to set up a pincer there, but like you said, on that Illicit on that check against Lastro really feels like it throws a wrench in things, as again they're kind of circling the point here, trying to surround AAAd.
Oh, Tuba gets low. The healing is there. Regen domain forced out. I think that's an opportunity for Yaki to go in with the Dance of the Butterfly, but he has to build it up. Still at 99%. And as we're waiting on that, Alyssa just marches forward, puts a trident right between Piggy's eyes. There's that Dance of the Butterfly, but now enough tools are online. The AAAd, they don't care. They don't want to dance with Yaki. You can go stag on this one.
And AAAd send most of Reject back to spawn with just 60 seconds left to go. Tuba again, another Deadpool selfie and another upgrade ready to go. That is a beefed up Deadpool here, as we are quickly approaching potentially the last engagement that Reject is going to be able to pull out here. Again, a Gargoyle on the Venom on the move here, but it feels like Reject just trying to look for an opening that they have not been able to find, or one that's just not there.
It's up to Gargoyle to make that opening, and he did a good job last time around, but it was too soon. Yaki wasn't there to follow up on it, and now AAAd, they're gonna have the Agata Mischief, they're gonna have they're gonna have the Deadpool ult as well, and the Meteor M. Like, there's a lot of tools that AAAd can use defensively here. Gargoyle already forced back, and there's that Banhammer coming out. It's on to Sunghoon, the last person that you wanted on, and goodbye, Sunghoon.
Insane target prio here for AAAd. One strategist offline for Reject. Piggy going overhead for a Meteor M, though, looking to try and get Reject in this fight here. No Smite will take that and give them a taste of their own medicine. We'll find Piggy on the Magneto, and Reject dropping like flies here. Tuba, another KO for the Vanpool here. Apex Predator comes down for Brownie, but it doesn't look like a lot of value here. Overtime in effect, and immediately ticking down here. A couple of members of Reject still alive. AAAd's got an invisible boundary here as well. Strange Portal does come through. They'll buy just enough overtime for Reject to be able to jump through there. Sunghoon does get the invisible boundary down for Reject now, as they will hang on with just a second of overtime left, but they can't quite grab onto the point like they'd like to here. Gargoyle over onto the Wolverine here, does make it onto the point, is still alive here. Yaki hanging on by a thread as well, but no ults for either team there, as Reject finally on the charge here. All of AAAd standing nearby, though, ready for maybe one last fight here. Kidnap onto No Smite from Gargoyle as well, as Reject just trying to get in the fight at the last second here. It's Jeff coming out from Lastro as well. Maybe too little too late for Reject, as all of AAAd still standing on the point. Invisible boundary does go down. There's the Dance of the Butterflies from Yaki as well, but a couple members of Reject go down, and an Eye of Agamotto whiff from Illicit as well here. AAAd trying to get back onto the point, trying to regain control here, but Reject can't stand on it, and AAAd will shut them down at 0 capture points.
How does this keep happening? They're like, Reject, please. I don't know, I got from the second that overtime wick went down to that microscopic level, I started to get anxiety. My cortisol has spiked to levels hitherto unseen, and Reject can't get the cap there. They get a couple of ticks, but I don't know that I like the strategy that they approach this map with to begin with. I mean, I guess I was right about one thing. This map is a secret weapon. So secret that even Reject don't know how they want to play it.
It really just felt like it was cold feet in an icebox the whole time for Reject. They just couldn't commit. They did at the very end, but just too little, too late. AAAd able to re-muster the defense there, get right back on the point, push them off, and that was all she wrote for Reject offense. Just 65% of that first capture point obtained for Reject here. So, you know, there's a huge window of opportunity sitting wide open here for AAAd to close this out, and what a statement it would be. But they do have that 65% left to capture here, so there is a little bit of a barrier in the way, but how can Reject hold on to this?
I mean, I guess the silver lining is that if they do hold on to this and manage to prevent that 65% from coming through, it's still a win condition, but it is the most slim of margins of error that you can possibly concoct. I mean, it's less than 2 ticks. It's a tick and a half, and Reject will lose the map if they fail to protect it. I mean, they do have the Adam Warlock alongside the Loki, so they can play the double res comp, lead on a lot of time that way, but Yaki is going to be hunted down like a dog if they get even a whiff of where this Adam Warlock is. And if he's not around for the Loki to copy, then Sunghoon's ultimate is not necessarily useless, but it's not going to buy nearly as much time as it needs to.
Yeah, not as good backup options without the Adam Warlock on the table here. Reject gonna look to out-sustain AAAd here, but it is almost one fight for Reject here to take this point and take the series home here. Just under 60 seconds used up by AAAd already, and they are on the point here, ready for a fight with Reject here, trading blows in the neutral. Both teams looking for an opportunity here. They did get their courtesy of a portal from No Smite, already taking the high ground in this arena as well. Piggy and Gargoyle standing strong on the point there. Piggy over onto the group we called out earlier, finally here, but again, it is a question of maybe too little, too late for Reject here. Tuba does get the Banhammer out already, so again, a very early Deadpool ult for AAAd here, but a breakthrough for Reject as Brownie will find Rocco to start things off. Illicit following him back to the spawn room. That's courtesy of Yaki on the Adam Warlock, so Reject so far able to beat them back, but how long can they hold out?
That two-man hit squad of Yaki and Brownie, that's exactly what you need for Reject, but you've only managed to buy yourself a minute and a half. There's still 2:30 in the time bank for AAAd, and they didn't use any ults on that first engagement aside from the Banhammer from Tuba, but that's one of those ultimates that you build up really fast, especially once you start to get that XP, you start to get the upgrades, especially onto those Desert Eagles. Once those things turn golden, you can expect that thing to be coming off cooldown, and it's going to be another easy win condition for AAAd. You can't let that one happen. Here's the other silver lining, though. Yaki, 73% to a Karmic Revival. Sunghoon has the God of Mischief, so you have your double res just about ready to go, and more ults to bleed this one out to nothing.
Yeah, definitely could be a wash in this fight for AAAd. Ult's coming out, though. Brownie got the Apex Predator on the move here. Sunghoon does use the Loki ult, but it is going to be the Cloak and Dagger copy off of that one. No Smite goes for the Eye of Agamotto and whiffs it here, but we'll pick up Sunghoon off of the Maelstrom of Madness, so makes up for it with a quick KO, and now AAAd going to look to clamp down on this one. Overhead Meteor M from Gargoyle. This is good! The double KO off the dunk here. Brownie will follow up, make it a triple KO for Gargoyle and a double for Brownie here, as AAAd sick, running for the hills, and now Yaki ready to go with that Karmic Revival for the next fight. Solid looks for Reject defense.
I do gotta question the judgment of Sunghoon to copy the Cloak and Dagger ultimate and then go knees deep into the enemy composition just to get popped by a Maelstrom from No Smite, but there's no questions about that dunk from Gargoyle, putting an exclamation point on that fight and putting the kibosh on this attack from AAAd. Only a minute left. A lot of ults for AAAd to try and brute force this one, but again, that Karmic Revival that Yaki is holding on to, that is the key to victory for Reject. They have to keep Yaki hidden. You can even see he is far away, trying not to show himself, minimize his existence, and let his team do the work until it's his time to shine.
Right, Eternal Bond on the point now. Reject looking to repel AAAd potentially one last time in this matchup to close things out. A couple ults still in the bank for AAAd. Reject, though, holding firmly onto that Adam Warlock ult until they absolutely need it, and they may very well. Banhammer coming through for Tuba as well here on the Deadpool. Has been on the move on the Vanpool this entire map. No Smite falls to Piggy, though. One KO coming through for AAAd. That'll force out the Mantis ult from Rocco here as Illicit so even the odds here. Does have the In-Song Inferno ready to go here, looking for the opportunity to use it. Tuba will pick up one on the Deadpool, and that brings out the Karmic Revival from Yaki, but an immediate KO onto the Adam Warlock there. Illicit coming in huge on that In-Song Inferno here at the last second, and AAAd looking to close things out here. Sunghoon over onto the Doctor Strange here, Portal on the point here, so we are going to go into overtime here, but what a turn for AAAd, and Reject can't get there in time!
The story of the series and the story of AAAd's repeated misfortunes is that they either can't or don't touch the point when it is necessary. We'll give a little bit of leeway to Sunghoon there because I don't know that there was even enough time to get that portal off, but that C9 on Museum of Contemplation, man, you are going to be kicking yourself all weekend long over that one, and then even harder for the one here on Symbiotic Surface on your map pick. And again, I just don't know that the attack phase for Reject was what you were looking for on a map like this. You secured the Jeff, you had the Venom, you wanted to play the dive, but they tried to play this split comp that just didn't really work. They didn't have the crossfire that they needed, and even when they went in off of the dives, it was just so disjointed that all AAAd had to do was survive, and survive they have, and they have survived their way up in the power rankings, and they can walk into this next matchup they've got later on tonight against Rival with their head held high, knowing that they too have bested who we thought was the best in the region.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like a big cage rattled for Reject on that Museum of Contemplation misstep, and it feels like they just couldn't recover. They built the confidence there, you know, near the end of that attack phase, but again, too little, too late for them to come back, and it all just fell apart for them at the last second. I thought for sure that Strange Portal was gonna make it in time, but no, a miracle pulled through here. AAAd take down Reject. They move to 2-1, and Reject falls to 1-2, and that's not even the end of the night for Reject because they've got zero tenacity on deck later on. What a matchup here, especially for AAAd.
That's the definition of bad to worse for Reject. You go from looking so clean, like clinical, surgical precision on every single dive. Everything was executed to perfection on Celestial Husk, but it just kind of fell apart from there. Even on Museum of Contemplation, you looked clinical. You looked stellar. Every single dive, every single elim, every single play was perfect until that C9 at the end. And, you know, we can give the assist to Quasit with the Jeff, you know, taking the Invisible Woman off. Maybe it was, you know, maybe it was the Invis's job to protect the cart and keep it in contention for the time being, but that's rough. That is very rough. And they, like you said, yeah, their cage very much so rattled that even on their map pick, I don't even know. I don't even know what I saw because I don't think I like that strategy that they came out with.
I mean, no, it's not at all the result we were expecting going into this, right? Not to say that AAAd were never going to win this match. Clearly, we would have been wrong thinking that. But, you know, it definitely seemed like Reject's opportunity to bounce back after their matchup against Pirates last night. If you're going to drop a match to a team in Asia Pacific, it should be to a team like Pirates, like Zero Tenacity, that are at the top of the leaderboards. But to drop this to AAAd here is huge. For AAAd to secure this is big for them too. A statement of statements made to the entire region that Pirates aren't the only qualified team here in Asia with some teeth, because now AAAd sitting in the positive after defeating the partner team out of Asia. I mean, a massive, massive win coming through here for them. Cannot give them enough respect. I saw Tuba picking up the MVP there on Symbiotic Surface. Deadpool power leveling session there for AAAd.
Yeah, Tuba making it look easy. Do not say his name backwards, I swear. And for Reject, like, again, I hate to harp on them so much, but these jitters that, you know, if Pirates had just have them shaken, they need to get these jitters out before playoffs, because I think, you know, with the power and the talent that we've seen in the good parts of Reject, this team should still make playoffs and almost certainly will, and there may come a time where they have to face off against Pirates again, but now there's another monkey on their back. Two of them coming out of MRC. The top two teams out of MRC have bested the partner team back to back, and I gotta be, like, again, full credit to AAAd, but they should not have won this match.
Yeah, I mean, based on what we were seeing in that matchup, right? Again, it's the walking off the point on Museum of Contemplation. It's the cold feet, the indecisiveness, the split party from Reject on Symbiotic Surface. Again, to drop that map on their own territory of their own choosing, is huge. I mean, cannot understate how big it is for AAAd to pick that one up. I mean, definitely consistent. You know, not everything went their way, especially on Symbiotic Surface. You know, they dropped a couple fights here and there, but this AAAd's team so consistent through potentially rough waters. So we do want to hear from AAAd about this matchup, and I believe we are going to be talking to No Smite about this big win here.
Hello, No Smite.
Hi, No Smite. Hi. Hey, so how would you evaluate your individual performance in this match?
I think I didn't play well because I'm so nervous this match. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. Okay.
I get it. You know, maybe get the nerves out though. But you know, it wasn't just you. You had your teammates there as well. Who do you think was your standout teammate in this match?
In this match, Illicit and Tuba plays very well, I think. Illicit, Daredevil, and Tuba's Deadpool was, yeah, they carried me, I think.
Yeah, very, very good performance from Tuba and Illicit, yeah. Speaking of Tuba and Illicit, in Game 2, Museum of Contemplation, Tuba and Illicit were very, very strong, but your team, really nice defense at the very end. How did you communicate that critical moment?
At the moment, we calm down and we planned how to use our ult, and we played that, yeah, what we play it.
Yeah, sometimes it's just that easy. You guys make it look easy there, even if there was a little bit of difficulty at the end. Thank you so much, No Smite, for joining us. Yeah, congratulations on the win.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.